The flashing blue lights painted the manicured lawns of Maple Grove Estates. Neighbors peeked through blinds. Whispers spread like wildfire. At the center of the street stood a tall, composed black man in a pressed polo shirt. Marcus Hightower, a retired Marine and community volunteer. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't resisting. He was just standing there, calm, unbothered. As two HOA board members argued with the police they themselves had called, one of the officers looked confused, the other hesitant, because something about Marcus didn't match their call. They were told he was aggressive, uncooperative, a threat to the neighborhood. But what they saw was discipline, and what they didn't know was that Marcus wasn't just a retired Marine. He was the law, a decorated federal officer, still working undercover with the Department of Homeland Security. Marcus Hightower had moved into Maple Grove Estates just 6 months earlier with his wife, Danielle, and their 9-year-old daughter, Ava. They'd spent years in military housing, bouncing from base to base, and finally decided it was time to settle down, somewhere peaceful. Maple Grove was perfect. Safe streets, well-kept lawns, and good schools. But from the first week, Marcus noticed the stares. At first, he brushed them off. He'd seen worse overseas. Then came the first letter. Your vehicle is not in compliance with HOA regulations. No military insignia or decals allowed on vehicles parked overnight. Marcus chuckled. His pickup had one small Marine Corps emblem on the bumper. Nothing flashy. He decided to be polite. He emailed the HOA president, Linda Graves, to clarify. She didn't respond. Instead, a second letter arrived, this one less friendly. Failure to comply will result in fines or further action. Within weeks, the letters became constant. A trash can too visible, a flag too large, a visitor parked incorrectly. Every minor thing became a new excuse to harass the Hightowers. One day, Danielle came home in tears. Their daughter had overheard other parents at the playground whispering, "Oh, that's the Marine family. The HOA says they don't follow rules." Marcus clenched his jaw, but stayed calm. He wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of seeing him angry. Instead, he decided to attend the next HOA meeting in person. When he arrived, the room went silent. Linda Graves sat at the center, flanked by two other board members, Paul and Tracy, both visibly uncomfortable. Marcus stood tall. "Evening, everyone. I'd like to talk about the letters and the flag." Before he could finish, Linda interrupted. "Mr. Hightower, this isn't the place to argue about rules. You can submit a complaint form." "I'm not complaining," Marcus replied evenly. "I'm asking for fairness." The room buzzed. Linda sneered. "Fairness? Everyone follows the same rules here. Maybe you're just not used to structure." The insult hung heavy. Marcus smiled faintly. "Ma'am, I served 22 years in the Marine Corps. I think I know a thing or two about structure." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. 2 weeks later, Marcus was outside washing his car when Linda's SUV rolled by. She stopped, rolled down her window. "You still haven't removed that Marine sticker. I'll be reporting this." Marcus didn't even look up. "Do what you need to, ma'am." That evening, while he and Danielle were eating dinner, there was a knock at the door. 2 police officers stood on the porch. One hand rested near his holster. "Sir, we received a report of a resident being verbally aggressive toward an HOA board member." Danielle's face went pale. Ava peeked from the hallway, scared. Marcus calmly opened the door wider. "Come in, gentlemen. You're welcome to check whatever you need." They stepped inside cautiously. The body cams recorded every word. One officer asked, "You had a dispute with Ms. Linda Graves earlier?" Marcus nodded. "A disagreement. No threats. No aggression. I got footage." He showed them his doorbell camera. It recorded everything. Linda had clearly been the aggressor, shouting from her car while Marcus barely responded. The officers exchanged looks. It was clear the call was baseless. But Linda and her HOA allies were already outside, watching. Linda pointed at Marcus's truck. "That man is unstable. Look at those military stickers. He's trying to intimidate us." One officer sighed. "Ma'am, please step back." That's when Marcus calmly handed him his ID, and the entire mood shifted. The badge wasn't a driver's license. It was federal credentials from the Department of Homeland Security. Silence. The officer stiffened. Sir, you're federal? Marcus nodded. Counterterrorism Division. Retired Marine. Currently assisting on state security projects. He looked him in the eye. You've just been called to harass a federal agent in his own home. The lead officer swallowed hard. Understood, sir. We'll handle it. They turned toward Linda. Ma'am, we reviewed the footage. There was no aggression, no threat. You've wasted police resources. Linda tried protest. But he's... The officer interrupted. Ma'am, I suggest you stop before this becomes obstruction. Neighbors started filming. Phones captured Linda's face going pale as the officer warned her about false reporting and harassment. Marcus stood silently. He didn't gloat. He didn't shout. He simply walked over to his daughter, lifted her up, and said softly, See, baby? Truth always wins, even when it's quiet. That night, the HOA meeting scheduled for the next day was canceled. Linda went silent for weeks. Word spread quickly. The man they tried to bully was the law itself. Months passed. The tone of the neighborhood changed. People who once avoided Marcus now greeted him warmly. A few even apologized privately. And when a hurricane hit the county, guess who organized a neighborhood relief effort? Marcus Hightower. He coordinated emergency generators, food distribution, and security patrols, all from his garage. The same HOA that had harassed him ended up depending on his leadership. Linda never fully recovered her authority. Eventually, she resigned quietly, citing personal reasons. And as for Marcus, he didn't hold grudges. He just smiled, waved at his neighbors, and kept doing what Marines do best, protect and serve, even when unappreciated. Because sometimes, the people who think they have the power forget, real strength doesn't come from titles or rules. It comes from character. And in Maple Grove Estates, the HOA learned one unforgettable lesson. You can't intimidate the law when the law lives right next door.